All right, everybody, it's me. Sorry. Gregory Mannarino. It is still Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020. Stocks got walloped across the board today, and I want to put a perspective on what's happening, and you already know. I told you to keep your eyes on the debt market. We made history today. Absolute history. The U.S. 10-year yield fell below 1% for the first time. Let me show this to you so you can get a handle on what I'm talking about. And I've been showing this to you over and over again, and it's not going to stop. This is the entire yield curve. I don't think you can make out the numbers, but see all the red on the side? See all that red? That's from the 1 month all the way out to the 30-year. It's cratering. The entire yield curve is flat, inverted, and cratering. I don't care how much cash the Federal Reserve wants to pump into this market, how much they want to cut, how loudly our president screams for negative rates. If they do not get a handle on this yield curve, it's over. 100% over. Now, let me give you a handle on what occurred. Okay, so stocks cratered. Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 800 points. The Federal Reserve did something very rare today. In fact, I don't think we've seen it since the financial crisis. An emergency rate cut, 50 basis points. The initial reaction from the market was higher. Okay, but I'm sitting here and I'm watching this, and I'm watching the debt market, which is where you should be looking. I'm watching the yield curve and it's dropping, 10-year dropping. As stocks are going up, I'm like, hold on a minute, something's going to give here. And I'm going to give you one guess as to what did give here. People, how many of you recall me explaining to you that debt is not going to fix this? Anyone, any individual trying to convince you that the solution here is more debt and lower rates or negative rates, one of two things is going on. Either one, they are 100% brain dead. There's no activity going on in here. Or two, they are deliberately trying to flood the world with debt to empower the central banks. That's all I have to tell you. Debt is not the answer. You know what would have helped this market today? Let me explain this to you in case you don't know. It should make sense to you. Stocks plunged and the 10-year yield, the entire yield curve dropped after an emergency rate cut from the Fed. And on top of that, the Federal Reserve pumped $120 billion into the repo market as banks are demanding more liquidity. Okay. This whole thing is a charade. Let's move forward here. The fact that, and I said this, the fact that the Federal Reserve had to get in here with an emergency rate cut is a no confidence vote. It's a no confidence vote. And the president went on a big speech today while the market was going up. He was cheerleading right after the Fed cut. Oh, at least the Fed's cutting rates, but we need them to cut a lot more. We need quantitative easing. His words. You can't make this stuff up. Never before in history has a sitting president called for more debt, quantitative easing, and negative rates in a booming economy. Let me explain this to you as well in case you don't know. Throughout history, it's never been wrong. Never one time been wrong. The yield curve, what it's doing now, is a clear indication that our economy here in the United States is in free fall. You can't know that. The president doesn't think you're smart enough to do a little research and try to figure out what he's doing here. What would have saved the markets today is one thing, a vote of confidence. How would we have gotten that vote of confidence? Any idea? I know you just got it. Did a light bulb just go off? Exactly. A rate hike. A rate hike What would that have done? It would have put a floor here underneath the cratering debt market, and the stock market initially might have gotten a little surprised off of it. But then it would have said, hold on a second, things must be good here. So let's get in here and buy. What would have happened today if Jay Powell would have raised rates today? The bond market would have stabilized and the Dow Jones Industrial Average would have put on 2,000 points. The fact that we got a no confidence vote from the Federal Reserve backed up by a larger no confidence vote in his economy from the president calling for lower rates, more quantitative easing. You got to be kidding. There's a video out there, literally, when the Fed announced this rate cut, when the stock market went high, when the president went into a slightly euphoric state, talking before a crowd, explaining how finally the Fed is cutting rates, and the crowd went crazy. They must be like satanic worshipers or something like that, or they're all brain dead too. Understand, this president, and it's anyone, does not understand the markets, or there's something much darker going on here. And it has nothing to do with getting rid of the Fed. For those of you that are going, oh, he's getting rid of the Fed. He's getting rid of the Fed. No, he's not doing that. And the Fed's not going to be blamed for a damn thing because this guy is saying, do it, do this, do this. This is a concerted effort combined between the brain dead president and the Federal Reserve, who's more than willing to issue more debt to finalize their grand multi-decade plan, people. It's an incredible thing to see here. The people of this nation have literally earned everything they're getting. America is dying. America is dying. The American people are being fleeced, being forced to deal with a rate environment, soon to be a negative rate environment. We also heard from the Trump administration that he's mulling around. Do a little research for yourself. Don't take my word for it. That the public bail out the healthcare institutions that are now bearing the brunt of uninsured for the coronavirus. Yeah, what is that called? Let me ask you, why is not the health insurers bearing the brunt here? Because again, it would hurt their profit. The president will not allow that to happen. The CEOs, the bigwigs, they have to get big, fat, ugly bonuses, but you have to bail out healthcare. You have to bail out the farmers. You have to bail out every single other industry coming down the pike here as our economy free falls. As our economy freaking free falls. Okay? So I want you to understand what you're witnessing here. The fact that a rate cut was done today emergently is a no confidence vote about the economy and the markets. The fact that the president is sitting out here brain dead, calling for lower rates. If the president had your interest in mind, okay, and didn't want to issue in the final solution of the central banks, he would have been calling for rate hikes. He would have confidence in his economy, confidence in his market. But no, he can't do that. He has to work for the central bank. This president, more so than Obama was or anyone before him, is a puppet of the highest order. Okay? He is given a script because I don't think he can understand it. He admitted this. This is not Greg Mannarino. He does not understand the stock market. He's not a stock market guy, which means he does not understand central banking. You understand that? Does that make sense to you? He admits he's a real estate guy. He loves debt. Of course, if we get lower rates or negative rates, whatever debt he holds, well, guess what will happen to servicing that debt for the president? He'll get great rates while you subsidize the entire thing. We're so screwed. We got the Democrats who are essentially going to blow up the system because all they care about is also inflating the debt. And then we have President Trump doing the same thing. You think there's any difference here? They're both socialists. I think the president should be, his name, I'm going to start calling him Bernie Trump. Bernie Trump. Again, redistribution of wealth, bailouts, you're getting sucked dry. Honestly, does this make sense to you? It really, really should. The two-party system does not exist. All that exists is an environment of lies on a scale that is just unfreaking believable. It's unfreaking believable. So anyway, the no confidence vote from the Fed and the president managed to hit the stock market, but more so, hit the debt market. We made history today. If they do not stabilize the bond market, you can kiss it goodbye now. Your 401k plans that are looking so good, your investments that only make money when the stock market goes up, I feel sorry for you. One trade today for me, 57% gain going short or betting against the market. You think I'm the only one who did that today? Your cash went to me and a lot of other guys and the Wall Street banks and the hedge funds. That's where it's going to go because the president wants it that way. Again, that's the grand plan, the destruction of people in this country and around the world who have accounts that only make money when the stock market goes up. Me? I don't give a damn if it goes up or down or even sideways. If I believe the stock market is going to go higher, what would I do? I'm going to buy naked calls. If I believe this stock market is going to drop like today, I will buy naked puts. If I believe the stock market is going to trade in a range, I will buy credit spreads. Actually, I get paid to make that trade. I get paid. I want you to think about that. If I enter a credit spread, if I think the market's going to go sideways, I get paid to enter that position. So can you. Yeah, that's available from my website. People, look. If you don't understand what's going on right here, if you are still locked in some kind of a delusion that Trump's going to end the Fed, this is it. Gold standard. Oh yeah, we're all going to be made whole. This is fantastic. And you don't see the direct collusion between the Federal Reserve and the president right now, and it doesn't matter who sits behind the Resolute desk. It just happens to be this thing right now. Interestingly enough, I ran a poll on Twitter. It's still running. I said, what thing is more truthful? Trump? Satan? 2-1. Pick Satan. 2-1. Look, you are being lied to on a grand scale. Every time the president tells you that the economy is booming, I want you to look at the yield curve, which is cratering. It's never been wrong. It's never been wrong. You're going to bail out the health insurers. How do you feel about that? You're going to bail out the farmers again. You're going to bail out every single industry, including the banks. Including the banks here. While you watch your investments evaporate. I hope you're happy. And like I said earlier, America is dying. America is dying here. And nobody wants to save her. Nobody wants to do anything here. It's pathetic to see what choices we have. Socialist Trump or the socialist Democrats? Don't you see where this is going? We're going there. You can't escape the redistribution of wealth that is coming down the pike here. Anyone screaming about how they're not a socialist and then is doing or calling for what the president is doing, you're looking at the biggest socialist of them all, Bernie Trump. You understand? There's no difference between Bernie Sanders and Trump. Well, a lot of people would say, okay, well, maybe Trump wants to make the rich richer via his scheme of a wealth transfer mechanism. But however you want to cut it here, America is going to die unless we do something about it. And I mean now, forget climate change. Forget what they're trying to fist feed you, coronavirus and everything else. This country is desperate for your help. What are you going to do? You're going to sit back and just do nothing? Are you going to watch it happen? Or are you going to maybe speak out? Maybe try to get an answer. Maybe start a blog. Maybe share this video. Maybe start talking to people. Say, look, Well, we're letting this happen to ourselves. And you're all going to be destroyed from a financial standpoint, no matter if you have an investment in the stock market or not. In this environment where we just got an emergency rate cut, the president calling for negative rates, how is that going to help you or your family? It's going to hurt you like you can't believe as you try to make ends meet. There's no more middle class anymore. People today in this country are carrying a debt burden that they have never carried before. People are borrowing from their credit cards to make ends meet. People are so desperate that they're looking towards socialists to help them. This is where we are. But we have a socialist president now. What's the difference? Whether this president wants to redistribute wealth to the upper echelon of society, it's very clear that he wants to do that, or you have another guy who wants to just, whatever he wants to do, redistribute wealth in one way or the other. Where's the cash coming from? The Federal Reserve. We're broke. Our country is destitute. So if a socialist Democrat wins here, well, you can expect this debt expansion cycle, which is theft on an unimaginable scale of the people in aggregate, to get much worse, just like it is now. There is no difference between Donald Trump and whoever else is running for president, although we know the president's going to win again. He's doing everything he's told to do. He is front-running the Federal Reserve. You think that this is real, that he's actually sitting here talking against the Fed? Oh, the Fed cut rates today, but we need more. We need quantitative easing. People, nothing on this planet makes a central banker happier than hearing that. This is what they want. This has been in the works for many, many, many decades. And we are here now. We're here right now. Now, look, let's put this aside. Let's talk about this market, because I don't give a damn if it goes up, down, or sideways. Okay? I'm going to make money. My lions are going to make money. Period. You, if you're not a trader, you're going to bet against this debt. You're going to hold hard assets. They're going to inflate to an insane degree. It couldn't be easier for you. It really couldn't be easier for you, But let me explain this to you for the final time, okay? If they do not get a handle on this debt market, again, the no confidence vote today from not just the Fed, but the president, okay, in his economy, in this market, caused the entire yield curve to crater. We made history today. We made history today. The 10-year yield falling below 1%. You think this is good? You think this is real? You think you're not being lied to on an incredible scale? Let me ask you, talking about my poll before, which thing is more truthful, Trump or Satan? Where do lies come from? I know where they come from. I hope you do as well. And this guy, this president, cannot stop lying. It's unbelievable. And every member of his administration, they can't stop lying either. Larry Kudlow, all of them. This should tell you something. People, we need a revolution in this country, in the world. We have lost, and without a revolution, you have no idea of what you're asking for. You have no idea. Picture a worst case scenario for you. What's the worst thing you can imagine? Well, that's coming, but probably worse than you can even dream about. That's the truth. All right, look, I'm gonna end this video here. People, please watch this video 3-4 times. Let these things sink in your own head here. Start to use your own intellect. Stop accepting the lies. Oh, they all lie. They all lie. So it's fine if he keeps telling me the economy is booming. Meanwhile, we have a cratering yield curve. Meanwhile, he's calling for more quantitative easing. He's calling for things you would only see, he, the president, calling for things we've only seen in an economic meltdown. But you must be convinced that we're doing great. We're booming. This is perfect. Go out and spend. Melt that credit card. And while you're at it, bail out the healthcare industry. Bail out the farmers. Bail out every other industry coming down the pike. Soon to bail out energy as well. And the banks. Sit there and do nothing and see what happens. All right, with that said, I am so out of here. Love you all. Please share the video. See you in the morning.